Hi friends, I hope all is well. I am just coming off doing my January no spend reflection and straight into my video about month one of my Bible in a Year challenge. So I mentioned in my last video, I got super behind with filming just because we had a lot of sickness and stuff going through our house. So I wasn't even going to take the effort to change clothes and make it look like it's another day. It's the same day. So, but I wanted to share about month one, like I said, of my Bible in a Year challenge. So if you are curious about what this challenge entails, feel free to go back to my original video where I talked about it. But in summary, I am going through the Eden to Eternity series from Daily Grace Co. And I am doing the daily studies from that. And then I'm using this Women's Study Bible from Crossway, this ESV Bible. I absolutely love this. Let me actually just go ahead and give a quick review on this. I have loved this Bible. It's great, but the pages are so thin that the highlighters I've been using, which I will get into in a few minutes as I go through the supplies I've been using, the highlighters I've been using have just been bleeding through like crazy. And I'm undecided on whether I want to switch highlighters. I don't know. So here's an example where you can see some of the color that has bled through from the previous page. I don't know, undecided on that, but that's really my only complaint. And the fact that this fabric cover has gotten so many fingerprints on it. I do think that there's a chance I may get this rebound with a leather cover because that holds up a lot better in my experience. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about kind of what my daily study looks like. So, as I've mentioned it before, this is what the days look like for, the study. It will mention what the reading is for the day. You open this, look at the reading, close this, and then go back to your Bible, do the daily reading, and then, you will read this entry, which is kind of like a summary. And then you have these reflection questions. And I wasn't sure how valuable the summaries would be for me. I really thought that I had a better understanding of some of the stories that I did, especially Job. One thing that I will share is when I was reading The First Friend, as I started to read a quick summary of Job, the Lord allowed for Job to have pretty much everything taken from him by the devil. And when Job's friends came to kind of comfort him, they tried to give him advice. They all went back and forth giving him advice. And the first time that the first friend gave him advice, I was just thinking, this is such great stuff. And I remember I was highlighting it. And then I read the summary and it talks about how bad the advice was. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. So it's great to have this kind of, I don't know if I would call it analysis, but summary to every reading, because there are things that stories that I thought I understood that I definitely don't. So this has been very valuable. So I would definitely recommend getting some kind of study companion if you plan to read through the Bible in a year. I know that there are some really good ones out there, some really popular ones. So find whatever works for you, whatever you really enjoy. But this is just the one that I chose to go with. So I have read through Genesis and Job, and I'm now into Exodus. So I'll talk a little bit about the process. I read through the reading, like I said, and then if I have any notes during the reading, I will write those in my notebook. There were some study companion notebooks or journals that you could get from Daily Grace Co., but as a way to save money, I decided to just use a notebook. So what I'm finding typically is that I end up writing just maybe 2 bullets of notes from every reading. I don't write a ton. Although the first day it looks like I did write a ton, but, yeah, I typically just do about 2 bullet points of notes. So I almost feel like I'm wasting paper, but, that is just kind of what I've been doing. My initial plan, that I mentioned in my first video was I had, where is it? Okay, my son just got home, so you may hear him. But I had this highlighting guide where I had 6 different subjects that I would highlight on. And then when I was taking notes, I had a pen that was the same color or similar. So for example, I would like use this. If I like highlighted it in the Bible and I had notes on it, I would write notes in this color. I ended up not really sticking to that at all. But I'm thinking it's maybe just because I don't write as many notes as I expected. I truly expected to write like pages and pages of notes from every single entry, but it didn't end up happening, which, like I said, is fine. I am a writer as a career. I'm a journalist, and I feel like it's something that I've mentioned, I think, before, but I've noticed in the past couple of years, I just don't journal as much. I think I mentioned this when I talked about prayer journaling. I don't journal as much. I don't take notes as often as I used to. And I think it's because just as a journalist, I'm like written out, like I'm just exhausted from it. And so I've just noticed that I don't write as often. And I think that that is really reflected here when I look at my notes. So one of the things that I would do to save paper is something that I would only do every now and then, and that is if I skipped a day, I would put like, this is day 34 and day 35. So I would put like what the chapters were that I read, and then I would put some notes. But again, it's just like 2 bullet points. So I think I need to maybe do a better job at taking notes, because I think I should also do a better job at kind of reading things more slowly as I'm going through my reading. But yeah, so that is kind of my feedback on my note-taking system. Anytime I have notes that's almost like additional commentary, typically when I'm going through the Eden to Eternity study, if I have notes that can kind of like summarize what I've read, I'll put them on a Post-it note, and I will put that in the bottom section where I have, where it has the notes, because it's a study Bible. So, yeah, the highlighters that I use, they are the mild liners, and these are super popular highlighters. I think that they probably work really well in those Bibles that have really thick paper, but this Bible just kind of has that very traditional, very, very thin paper. So am I going to keep using them? I don't know, because they were expensive, so I almost feel like I should keep using the highlighters. I do have some of those like Crayola ones that a lot of people like, that I've just had in my collection, so I might just switch to those. I don't know, but I do plan to hold on to the same highlighting guide colors, so as long as I can find some corresponding colors, I might do that, because I'm in a no-spend year, so I don't want to have to buy something. Another thing that I've really enjoyed is the Daily Grace Prayer Calendar. I got this in the mail after I had done my initial videos, so I didn't include it. But this prayer calendar is, honestly, it's great. So here's the month of March. Monday through Friday has a prayer prompt for it, and then you have a weekly memory verse, and then you will have, where is it? And then you'll also have, here you go, an area where you can fill out some March personal goals, March Bible study goals, and you can put what your personal goals are, and then action steps you'll take. Same thing for Bible study goals. This month I will, and then action steps. One of mine for February was to have way less, if none at all, days where I skip my Bible study. Just because when you are having to make up a day or two, it's kind of a lot. So in order to slow down my Bible study, to really reflect on it and take better notes, I think that it's better that I only have the 3 or 4 allotted chapters for the day. So that's one of my goals for February, for example. You also have a section where you could put what you're praying for, as well as important dates to remember. And then at the end of the month, you fill out this page. This is what God taught me. And then, so you've got lessons and blessings, favorite verses for the month, what I learned about God this month and his word, and then answered prayers and what day the prayer was answered. So this is just a really cool tool. The only thing that I don't like about this, and I mentioned this in a review, is, oh my gosh, some of these smudged and I'm just now noticing it. It's the Bible study reading plan. I think this is kind of silly because the Bible study reading plan the Daily Grace Co. came out with for Eden to Eternity is chronological. So it's not Genesis to Revelation. It's Genesis and then Job and then back to Genesis and then Exodus. And then you kind of have like where you jump in between some books because it's meant to be in the timeline in which it happened. So to me, it would make sense that because that is how they chose to do their Bible study, similar to what they did last year as well, where I believe it was also chronological, it would make sense that the Bible reading plan in here would be chronological as well, but it's not. This is if you read cover to cover. And so I have been using it to keep track of the fact that I read that day, but not like the actual reading. So for the first month, we started in January and started in Genesis and then skipped into Job and then went back to Genesis. This doesn't reflect that. It's all Genesis and then all Exodus and then all, and it continues. So that is my only negative feedback. And looking at reviews on the website, a lot of people felt the same way. They felt like, why is this any different than what you have for the study? I'm also in the Daily Grace Co. Facebook group, and people were saying the same thing. So I'm hoping that they change that for next year when they come out with this calendar. But if you are looking for a prayer calendar, that is a really good one to help you get started, because I mentioned in my which video was it? I mentioned in some video that I kind of struggle to pray, and when I do prayers, they're very short, and I know that God hears those prayers and He understands them, but I think that I could do a better job at doing longer prayers and mentioning more of my prayers, and bringing more of my life into prayer. And so having a prompt that you can use every day is a really great way to kind of help jumpstart your daily prayers. Excuse me. So that is all of my reflections from my first month of the Bible in a Year plan. I hope that if you guys are going through this plan, I would love to know how it's going for you. Maybe some expectations you had, or some ways, like, some ways that things have changed. Just whatever feedback you have, I would love to know down below. If you are interested in reading through the Bible in a year, don't feel like you have to wait until 2024 to start. You can start at any time. You can start at any time. And these studies from Daily Grace Co. are probably on sale, because they almost always are. If you're watching this video in 2025, I guarantee when you go to their site, there's going to be a sale, because that's just how it works. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.